All right, I've got a couple big announcements for you guys. Number one, PFF's player prop tool is now available on the web for all PFF Plus subscribers. And number two, PFF Plus is 40% off right now. If you use the promo code BLACKFRIDAY, you get all of the same data, grades, and analytics that all 32 NFL teams use, all 136 FBS teams use. As well, you get access to our 2026 NFL mock draft simulator, that world-class player prop tool that can help you nail all of your bets, and of course, the best fantasy football tools on the planet as well. Again, 40% off PFF Plus right now when you use the promo code BLACKFRIDAY. Next up, another big game that we had on Black Friday. We had number 4 Georgia beating number 23 Georgia Tech 16-9. A little more low scoring than we thought.
It was ugly.
It was ugly. Yeah, credit to Georgia Tech's defense, man, because we said in the preview that we thought the Yellow Jackets were going to struggle to get stops in this game, and they come up with a lot of stops in this game. But Georgia's defense had a little bit more and ultimately won this one. Let's go over to the highest grade players, starting off with the Georgia Bulldogs. Highest grade player was their running back, Nate Fraser, 78.2. Cornerback Ellis Robinson IV, 77.4. Linebacker Raylan Wilson, 74.6. Offensive tackle Monroe Freeling, 72.8. Wide receiver Zachariah Branch, 72.6. And Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback, 47.6. Even in a win, Stockton still struggled out there a little bit against Georgia Tech. Let's go over to Georgia Tech and their highest grade players in the loss. Linebacker E.J. Lightsey, 86.6. Taj Butler, another linebacker here, 78.1. Brett Seether, the tight end, 77.8. Jordan Vandenberg, the defensive tackle, 74.5. Linebacker Kyle Efford, 74.4. And Haynes King with a 75.3 grade in the loss. Dalton, what told the story in this game?
To me, Georgia Tech and a lack of explosive plays. Only 6 for the game, only 3 in the first 3 quarters. Okay, 1 pass and 2 runs. Only 43 yards in this game on 12 off-tackle runs. So Georgia Tech loves to get off-tackle. They love to get to the edges. Georgia just did not let them do that. Only 1 missed tackle in run defense for Georgia. We know they're arguably the best tackling team in the country. And Haynes King only 2 for 5 on 10-plus yard throws. I just felt like this game, Georgia put Georgia Tech in a box. My most impressive guy, I'm just going to throw Glenn Schumann out there more than any individual player. I'm going to throw their defensive coordinator, Glenn Schumann, out because I think the entire game plan was, listen, we are going to make Georgia Tech play in the box. We're going to make them run between the tackles. We're going to make Haynes King play quarterback underneath and beat us with paper cuts instead of making mistakes and biting hard up on play action. We're going to sit back in zone coverage and make him keep it in front of us. An outstanding job. When you go back and watch this tape for Georgia Tech, the ball was very rarely out towards the numbers in the passing game or in the running game. The running game especially, Georgia Tech basically any given time, especially when they were playing all that option football that Georgia Tech loves to play, they were forcing the ball inside. If that means a more traditional read option, then stare down Haynes King and make him hand the football off. If it was the invert where you have the jet sweep and Haynes King is running inside, then take the jet and make Haynes King run between the tackles. This to me was a masterclass from Glenn Schumann, making all the adjustments he needed to make from last year's game when Georgia Tech really ran all over him and got outside at will. This was a game where they made Georgia Tech play within a box where they don't want to play. They don't run it between the tackles as well as they do to the outside. The ball was rarely out towards the numbers, and Georgia Tech could not find explosive plays otherwise in a different way than they normally would.
Yeah, my stats is exactly the same thing. Georgia Tech, negative .435 EPA per run in this one. The bread and butter of their offense is to challenge defenses on the edges of this game, like you just mentioned, Dalton, and Georgia just did not allow that at all. Only 76 total rushing yards from Georgia Tech in this game. 45 of them came from quarterback Haynes King. So their fewest rushing yards in a game since their 2022 loss to Georgia, back when Brent Key was the interim head coach for the Yellow Jackets in that game. They averaged 3.5 yards per carry, 1.8 yards after contact per carry. Jamal Haynes and Malachi Hosley, 2 very talented running backs for Georgia Tech, they combined for 10 carries for 17 yards. That is all that those two running backs provided Georgia Tech on Friday. Georgia showed why it has right now the best tackling grade in college football and one of the best run defenses in college football. Georgia only missed one tackle on 22 carries for the Yellow Jackets. So like you just mentioned, Dalton, just an outstanding job from Glenn Schumann from scheming it up, the defensive line, the linebackers, even the secondary for Georgia for all contributing in run defense in this game.
I think another good way to put your stat there that you just had basically is the fewest rushing yards Georgia Tech has had with Haynes King as their quarterback.
True.
I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this football game. That's why it was 16-9. And Georgia, look, they struggled much more offensively than we thought they would against this Georgia Tech defense. You could argue that this was maybe Georgia Tech's best defensive game of the year, considering the opponent and the fact that they only gave up 16 points. And Gunnar Stockton had, 70 passing yards? And we thought there was a chance he could come in and tear it up like he's been doing the last month and a half. But, credit to Georgia. And this is, once again, just Kirby Smart getting his team to find a way to win, being the more physical team, and his defense is a constant. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're going to be an absolute problem, especially their run defense. You will not out-physical Georgia. If you're going to beat this defense, you better have a quarterback that comes in there and plays at a special level because the run game is not going to get it done.
Yeah, so one team could not run the ball. One team could because Nate Fraser carried this Georgia offense on his back in this one. 17 carries for 107 yards for the true sophomore tailback, a 35% forced missed tackle rate for Nate Fraser, 69 yards after contact, 4.1 yards after contact per carry. He is a bruising runner with better feet than you'd expect for a physical runner like him. All 6 of his broken tackles in the game came on 3 runs. So he was just bowling over Georgia Tech's defenders on 3 of his carries in this one. Gunnar Stockton had easily the worst game of his season, and it did not matter because Nate Fraser and the Georgia defense could carry this team on their back and lead Georgia to victory. Just a great job by Georgia for stopping the run and for running the ball in this one. I'm sure a style of victory that Kirby Smart really kind of loves.
Absolutely. And then you look at Georgia, just the one loss to Alabama this season, and if they were to turn around and beat Alabama, which I know has been a problem lately, they're going to end up in the playoff probably with the number 2 seed.
Oh,
right?
great.
They'll probably jump ahead of the Ohio State-Indiana winner, and I would think the loser of that game to me would still be top 4. They should be, but probably number 3 and 4 instead of number 2. I think Georgia, man, they've got everything in front of them. They want to make a national title run. I do. When you talk about Ohio State, at least for us right now, being the best team in the country and to being the number 1 team really all year, Georgia has, you could argue, them and Indiana are the 2 teams with the best chance to beat them, and it's because of Kirby Smart, it's because of the pedigree, and it's because of this defense.
Definitely. Big win for Georgia, beating Georgia Tech 16-9 in Atlanta. And also, Georgia will stay in Mercedes-Benz Stadium next week when they play in the SEC championship game against Alabama.